Sometimes C programmers have to write code for people who don't know how to themselves write code, users. And oftentimes users are going to want to input numbers or some other type of data into programs themselves without having to recompile it. To be able to do this, we need to understand scanf, the scanf command. That's going to help us do that. And we're going to run a program that uses scanf. And so the way to start that is we go down to the bottom, we click on the terminal icon, up comes the terminal, we cd desktop, cd c code, and then we're going to use our make project script, /makeproject.sh space, average underscore with underscore scanf. It's a scanf averaging program. Then we want to cd into average underscore with underscore scanf, that folder we just made, and then open dot to bring it up on Finder. You double click on the average underscore with underscore scanf.c file, and it should come up in Xcode, an empty file. I want to use the last average program, average underscore v2c, as my template here. And so I go in, I find it in Xcode, I open it up, and then I Command A, Command C of that program, and then I go into my new program, average underscore with underscore scanf, and then Command A, Command V to copy all of that into my new program, and then save it, Command S. And so that's my starting point. Last time we left average v2c, it was for 5 points, not 3. So go back through and replace in the array, make it a sub 3, not a sub 5. In the declaration statement, the for loop, the summing for loop, has to go to 3. At the equation, average equals sum divided by 3. Change all that back to 3, and then erase a3 and a4 from that thing. We're going to erase all of that stuff. We're going to erase all the a sub 0 equals 3, a sub 1 equals 5, etc. Just erase it. And we're going to replace it with the following. This for loop. So first there's this printf statement. This is a program that calculates the average of 3 numbers. It's telling the user what the program is. And then we go through a for loop that we're going to have 3 scanf statements. Scanf works like printf. The first argument of scanf, in double quotes, is the percent character of what you're expecting to input. %d for an integer, %f for a float. In this case, I put %g. What's that? %g is a floating point number that can either be in normal notation or exponential notation. %e is exponential notation. It's rarely used. I mean, I suppose if you're wanting to print out Avogadro's number or something like that, you can you'll need it. But generally, most people don't use it, but it is there for somebody if they do need to input something as an exponential format number. %g is kind of a wild card. Take either form, regular notation or exponential notation. So that's why I use it on scanf statements, so they can input it any way possible. Then comma, then the variable a sub I, a bracket I. Except there's this new character in front of there, and the ampersand symbol. What ampersand means, what it means in that context, it's a big long story, and we're going to do videos that are actually going to show you that. But for now, just recognize that for scanf statements, you need the ampersand, and for printf statements, you don't. That's just something to know for now. Okay, so that's the change. Let's go ahead and compile it and run it. And so you can see on the terminal, you compile it with the GCC statement, and then you can run it by going /average underscore with underscore scanf, and then return. It gives the printf statement, and then it just sits there waiting. It's not doing anything. It's inside that for loop of scanf. What you have to do is you have to enter. You have to enter 3. You can see the little 3 there right after the colon, then 5, then 8, and then it will print out the answer. It worked, but it's still kind of kludgy. The user has to know what to expect. They have to know that it's going to be in that for loop asking for 3 numbers. That's not very good. It's kludgy. So let's fix that by, and this is normally the case. If you have a scanf statement for a user, you really need a printf statement, one printf statement for every scanf statement to sort of prompt the user and say, hey, enter number 1, enter number 2, so forth. So when we go back into the code, you can see that I've added this printf statement. enter number %d, and then the colon. But I'm not going to use I because I don't want it to go enter number 0, because only a C programmer would know what enter number 0 means. So I'm going to add a new variable, an integer j, and j is just going to be equal to I plus 1, so that's how human beings count, right? So enter number 1, 2, and 3. I recompile the program, and I rerun it, and then you can see that the prompts are there, and it's easy to enter the 3 numbers, and it works just fine. In reality, scanf is really not used that much anymore. It's not that common, but scanning from a file is used a lot. And so that's really why I did this video, is to learn about basic scanning functions. And now, next video, we're going to learn how to scan from an actual file. That's really valuable.